So, we're going to go and get started. We'll open up with Al-Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. And we got thanks to Almighty Allah for allowing us to be present for this Ta'aleem service. And we give thanks to Almighty Allah for being so kind and so merciful to us. Ameen. And we ask Allah that He allows the believers who are traveling today to Greensboro to reach the destination safely and to return home safely. Ameen. Does anyone remember on Friday what we discussed? Oh, you weren't here? Okay. Anybody remember? Yeah. Alhamdulillah. The title was, oh, okay, change the conditions. Change the conditions. Yeah. Change the conditions. All right. So the verse that we discussed was 13:11. 13:11. So we're going to pull it up, and inshallah, we'll talk a little bit about it. So usually to get a clear understanding of what Allah is telling us, Imam Muhammad rahimahullah said read the verses before it and after it to get a better a better understanding of what Allah is revealing, the context of what I will reveal. Allah says in 13:9, we'll start there, that He is the knower of the unseen and the witness, the grand, the exalted. It is the same to Him concerning whether one conceals His speech or one publicizes it, and whether one is hidden by night or conspicuous among others by day. For each one are successive angels before and behind Him who protect Him by the decree of Allah, and her, we'll say her too. Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. And when Allah intends for a people ill, there is no repelling it, and there is not for them besides Him any patron. It is He who shows you lightning, causing fear and aspiration, and generates the heavy clouds, and the thunder exalts Allah with His praise, and the angels as well from fear of Him. And He sends thunderbolts and strikes therewith whom He wills, while they dispute about Allah, and He is severe in assault. Sadaqallahu wa-deen, if Allah speaks the truth. And then it says, to Him alone is the supplication of truth. And those who they call upon besides Him do not respond to them with a thing, except as one who stretches his hands toward water from afar, calling it to reach his mouth, but it will not reach it, and the supplication of the disbelievers is nothing but in error. So it's talking about believers and disbelievers. I'm going to put up the Yusuf Ali translation. So the verse that we discussed on Friday was, for each such person there are angels in succession before and behind him or her. So that's telling us that the angels are present, right? Allah says that that each person has how many angels with them? Two. And what are they doing?
One is recording and one is watching.
Okay, they recording and watching. Okay, and so they're both witnesses to our behavior, and they follow us everywhere we go. Right? They're at the house, they're at the job. When we go into the restrooms, they're there. They follow us, right? And so they observe what we do. But that's not to say that Allah doesn't see us, because Allah sees everything, right? Even though the angels are with us, right? Allah still sees everything that's happening. Okay? And so the angels are recording our actions, right? It talks about how they record what we do in a book. That each person on the day of judgment will be brought their own books, right? And their books will be laid open, right? So, think about what kind of books do we have? Huh? Okay, we got the Quran. And the Quran is our standard, right? The Quran is the standard. So what's another word for Quran? What is it? I mean, guidance. Okay, it's a book of guidance, right? It's a book of instructions, which is still tied to guidance, right? It's a map. A book is directions. It gives you directions, right? Instructions, right? And so Allah sent this book to give us guidance, to give us instructions on how to do what? How to behave, how to be as humans. Sorry about that sound. Right? So he gives us examples in the book from before, right? About different people that have come before us, and he gives examples of both sides, those who do good and those who do evil, right? But he also gives us illustration of those who do good, how he rewards them, and he gives us examples of those he punished, right? And so, in there's a subject called penology, the study of punishment. That's a field in criminal justice called penology, where we examine how people are punished, right? So we can look at different methods in terms of how people are punished. Well, the Quran lays out punishment in terms of how people are punished. How people are punished in this life, but also the punishment to come when? In the next life. And Allah illustrates these things. Why would Allah tell us about punishments? Okay. So it's a warning, right? One of the titles of the prophets is Nadir. Nadir. The warners. The warner. So they were sent to warn, but they were also sent to bring the good news. Mubashir. That's another title. The bringer of good news. I think is it Surah 70? 79? Al-Anaba? The news or something like that. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to come back to this here. No, that's not it. It's 78. And Anaba. The tidings. Tidings means what? News. Okay? So when we look at this word mubashir, I'm going to pull it up on a dictionary. And this is still tied into conditions, changing the conditions. Okay. So mubashir is a title that Allah has given the prophets.
Giving the prophet.
Yeah. And you know, we also give news, right? We give news. Um, Here it is, Bashara. It means to lay bare one's skin, to take off the bark. Okay? Good news. Busharat, fine looking appearance. Good news. A mubashir, you see this? Mubashir. One who announces good news. The bearer of good news. So we can also give good news to people, right? Make sense?
Yes.
We can also give good news. But this word is also, it means human being. So the prophets, the messengers, were mubashirs. They gave the good news, but they also were bashirun. They were human beings. And this points to sensitivity. You're a sensitive human being, right? We're sensitive. You know, even with the outside of our skin, it's sensitive, right? We have nerves in our bodies that makes us sensitive. We are sensitive physically, but we're also sensitive emotionally. That makes sense? Alhamdulillah. Okay. So we're talking about changing the conditions. Allah says, I'm going to pull up the, Allah says in chapter 13:11, He says, Inna Allaha la yugayiru ma bi qawmin hatta yugayiru ma bi anfusihim. And He says, I will not change your conditions until you change. Allah does not change a people's condition unless they change what is in their hearts or their soul or their spirit. Okay? But when Allah willeth a people's punishment, there can be no turning it back, nor will they find besides Him any to protect. Let me see if I can get this off. Oh Lord. Hey, we got any kind of spray that I can spray on this?
No.
Um,
Permanent, or is it?
yeah, it's permanent. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, you gotta get some.
Yeah. I think there's some cleanser in the bath. Okay. Yeah, I gotta get that off there. Sometimes you just spray a little, it'll get it off. Yeah, it'll come off. I'm not gonna write on it anymore.
Yeah.
So the word that Allah uses for conditions is calming. Allah says, "Be calming." That I would not. Well, let's go back. We're gonna go back to Allah says that He does not change a people's condition, right? So the word that Allah uses is yugayiru. Yugayiru. That's the word that means change, right? It means to change. But because we have the la in front of it, it means not. So in the la, Allah does not change, right? Be calm in conditions. Their conditions. So, no, conditions. Be calm in. So when we look at this word gaira, it means change, right? Okay. Okay. Is it coming off? Okay, alhamdulillah. I won't write on it anymore. It's Gaudara. And it might be no. You have to when you're looking at it, that's what it takes when you go through the dictionary. You got to figure out, okay, how's it being presented? You have to look at the way it's written in Arabic first. And so we go here. In the Arabic, it's right here. You, ga, you have a ya here with the shedda. So that means you got two Y's. One Y goes back. You gai, the one goes forward. Yiru. Okay? So when we look in the dictionary, we have to, sometimes you'll see it, but it might not be the right one. So it's a different combination of letters. And so, because it took me a while to find it last time. So you got her. Here it is. No, let me see if that's it. That's not it. No, that's not it. What's the word I'm looking for? Change, right? Yeah, change.
And the word is, you said Uganda?
Yeah, you guide you. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. But I want to get us out of here.
So is the yeah the first letter?
No, the yeah makes it imperfect. And what that means is that Allah doesn't change the condition. He didn't change them in the past. He's not changing them now, and he's not going to change it in the future. So it makes the word imperfect. That means that the act of not changing is continuous.
So it's not Uganda.
Here it is right here. To change, to alter. You see that? This right here. Yugayiru. He alters. So it makes it imperfect. It's at IMP. Because the Y is here, it makes it imperfect. So he's not going to change them. He didn't change it for during Prophet Muhammad's time. He didn't change their conditions until they changed what was in their souls. Right? He did it during that time. Right now, as we live right now, he's not going to change our conditions until we change what is in our souls. In the future, quit.
So like Uganda, how do you spell it for that?
Yugayiru.
Okay, Uganda.
Yiru.
So that one is that Allah is not going to change the condition until we change what is in our soul,
Right,
our heart,
right. In our spirit,
and
right.
our spirit. And when he does change it, then the word becomes done. Then the word becomes that word that you were just looking
No,
at.
he won't have the lie there. Remember, he says he's not. The word lie means not.
Yeah.
He's not going to change it until we change.
Until we change. So when
Right.
we change.
So when we change, then he changes our condition.
Okay. And when he changes our condition, then what is the word used?
The lie won't be there.
Okay.
Got me?
That's what
He's changing it. Because the word yugayiru means to change. But when you have la yugayiru, it means that he does not change. That makes sense? Alhamdulillah. So he says that that he's not going to change our conditions until we change what is in our. Let's look at this word calming. Allah says, be calming. Calming comes from the root qayyamah. Okay? So we're going to go to the dictionary and we're going to pull up this word calm. Qayyamah. And see the when you when you read the English doesn't give justice to what Allah is really saying.
Right.
I mean, we can say he doesn't change the condition of people. Okay, we can think about okay. But when you study it, it gives you more insight. You know what I'm saying? And then you start looking at people individual, like why are you still in that state that you're in? When you look at certain people, or when you look at other people, say, well, why? You're advancing, right? You're like Allah is rewarding you. What is it that you're doing? Well, what is it they're doing to change their condition? And see, we have to understand that the conditions can be physical, it can be mental, it can be moral, spiritual, financial, educationally. And then we have to see there's a connection between each one of those. Politically. So what are you doing to change your conditions? It applies to the individual as well as the community.
So when
You want a microphone?
the individual have
You want a microphone?
No, sir.
Okay.
So when an individual has that particular situation, and a law has not changed their condition because they haven't changed their behavior, but it should be behaviors, right?
Behaviors, yeah.
Because you're not, if you change you're just your, I'll say, financial, whatever. But it is all of them that has to be addressed, right? Financial, spiritual, educational, your physical, the whole gamut of things.
Yeah. So let's say for instance, I'm unemployed. Right? So I'm unemployed. I'm crying, hey, I need a job. Right?
Right.
So I pray, oh Allah, please help me get a job. Okay, the prayers out there. Allah says that he hears the prayers of everybody. Right?
Right.
And he responds. Now, sometimes the answer is no. Because you may not get that job that you want. He may see some things at that job that you don't see and doesn't want you to be in that environment. Right? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that what will come to you will come, but what will pass you by will pass you by. Okay? A leaf doesn't fall from the tree that Allah doesn't have any knowledge of, right? He knows everything that happened. He's all seeing, all knowing. So we're saying, look, I want that job. Okay, you prayed for it. What is the next thing you have to do? you have to put some work and effort into it. So we make the muezzin makes the adhan, then the muezzin makes the iqama. Brother Clarence just did both of them, right? And then in the adhan and the iqama, hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, come to what? Prayer. So we come to prayer first. Hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah, come to what? Cultivation. Come to success. So we're in the adhan calls that, the iqama says it, then we make the prayer, and then we make the group prayer, right? And I'm going to tie this calm in. Because the word calm, qayyamah, it means to stand. It means to stand fast or firm. It means to stand still, stand up, rise. Okay? Now if we go down, it means to persevere in. Right? It means to sustain, to rise for prayer. So the iqama comes from this word here. Right? So Brother Clarence just made the iqama. What did we do? We stood up for prayer. Right? So this standing. And so what happens next, we say Allahu Akbar, and then we go to what position? Qiyam. So we're standing in Qiyam, right? What are we reciting in Qiyam? What surah must be recited in Qiyam? Al-Fatiha, the opening. If we don't recite Al-Fatiha, the prayer is not valid. So in Al-Fatiha, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Right then, we're what? We're extolling Allah in His what? Mercy. You are the merciful. Twice. Right? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The praise belongs to who? Allah, the Lord of what? All systems of knowledge. We're still praising Him. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Most gracious, most merciful. Maliki Yawmiddin. Master of the day of judgment or the day of death. Now, we get in just those, what, 4 ayahs. Is that 1, 2, 3? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. I don't think Bismillah is counted in there. I think it's Alhamdulillah. So let me pull it up. I want to be right on that one because I don't want to buy it. Hey man, you teaching wrong. So, okay, Bismillah Rahman Rahim is counted. That's the first verse. The second verse, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka. Then we say what? You alone we worship, and your aid we seek. Now we saying this all in Qiyam, right? Then we say, what? Show us or guide us to the straight way. The way of those upon whom you have bestowed your grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and those who do not go astray. Now, boom, powerful. Now we're talking about what? Changing the conditions. Al-Fatiha is the start of us changing our conditions. Where does it start? Well, it first starts that we saying, hey, we praise you. You are the Lord of the systems of knowledge. We praise you that you are the most gracious, the most merciful, the master. You are all of that. Right? Then we say, You alone we worship Allah, and you alone do we seek your help. Show us the straight way. I can't do it without you. But please, not like those who have what? Gone astray. So we're asking him to guide us, right? That's the start of changing our conditions. When we're standing in what position? Qiyam. After the muezzin makes the what? Iqama and the adhan. Stand up. Now that you have asked me to help you and show you the straight way, now we're going to give you, now what's going to happen, now you got to recite some more verses. Now we're talking about the first two rakats, right? Now what are you going to recite? Then we might recite, Kul, Hu Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, Lam Yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Say he's Allah, the one and only. Again, those are his names, right? The eternal, the absolute. He begets not, nor is he begotten, and there is nothing like him. Right? And so now, spiritually, our conditions are changing if we thought beforehand that Allah was somebody else. If we come from a different way of life, right? Where we thought Allah was something else. What happens with Al-Fatiha, and then what happens with Surah Al-Ikhlas, it clears all that up. Now spiritually, we're what? We are in a good state. Assalamu alaikum, brother. So we're spiritually in a good state, right? Okay, now my Aqidah, my belief system, is getting straightened out now. I took my Shahadatain, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, right? So let's say for the person who comes in who's non-Muslim, they come to Jummah, we have it a lot, right? They come to Jummah, they take their Shahadatain. After they take their Shahadatain, they're responsible at that point to make their prayers, right? They may not know them in Arabic, but they can pick up the book and start just reading. Right? Or they can come in, and when Asa comes in, right, they can make the prayer even though they may not know, right? Because Allah has already cleansed them up by taking the Shahadatain. They are pure, spiritually. Everything's been wiped clean. Now they have the opportunity to continue to improve their spiritual condition. Allah says that I will not change your conditions until you change what is in your soul, what is in your spirit, what is in your heart. Not the physical heart. So let's say that person just took their Shahada. Now Asa comes in, they come to the Masjid, or they sit around and wait until Asa comes in, then they make their Salat. Because now they have an Imam who is leading them in prayer, right? And the Imam is reciting what we just recited. And he doesn't say, show me the straight way. He say, show us, which includes that new Shahada. So that Shahada gets credit for that. And they keep coming back and keep coming back. And eventually, that Shahada say, oh, Lord, let me learn this prayer. Eventually, as they continue to come back, they what? They learn this prayer. That happened to all of us. We didn't know the prayer until we started hanging around people who knew the prayer. We didn't know how to speak Arabic. What's that word again? Alhamdulillah, what? What you say? We didn't know how to read it. We heard it, right? And then some of us may have taken extra steps to go out and learn it. By reading it, going to the websites, well, at the time, they didn't have no YouTube when we were coming in, right? So now you can go to YouTube and just listen to it on YouTube. That's the benefit. But we didn't have that, right? We didn't have anybody to demonstrate that online for us. We had to go to the Masjid and attend classes. Allah says that I will not change your conditions until you change what is in your heart. So after the prayer, it go back to the Iqamah. Remember this word, Qiyam, Iqamah. This word, be calming. Be calming is the word that Allah uses to say that condition you in. When he says, I will not change your conditions until you change what is in your soul. The word that Allah uses is be calming. Where is it? Be calming. Right? Let me see. He says, La yugayiru ma be calmin. Hatta yagayiru ma an be an fusihim. So their, him, that's the pronoun. Their what? Their soul. Anfusihim. So it's plural, right? So change what is in their nafs, what is in their spirit, what is in their self, their mind, their inner desires or feelings. Right? I won't change your conditions until you change. So that going back to that person that wants the job, man, you got to put in work. The job ain't going to jump in your lap unless you know somebody. They might have a help wanted sign, but you got to walk in the store to talk to somebody about the job. That requires work, right? You know, back in the day, we used to look in the newspaper, the Sunday newspaper, for jobs. There wasn't no internet. There was no internet back in the day where we go look at jobs and post. Man, we had to go to the place and fill out the application on site, or take the application home, fill it out, and take it back. You get up early in the morning and you start going out looking for a job. You can look at the help wanted section in the newspaper, and they have it categorized. Technology, food service, you looking through the newspaper. You get Sunday newspaper every week. Looking for, because the paper was thick, right? Had everything in there. And then during the week, it kind of gets a little small, but you're still looking for jobs. But now it's completely changed. You go online, go to Indeed.com, put the field that you're interested in. It'll pop all these jobs in this area that it may be of interest to you. But that still requires work. So Allah tells us in Hayya ala salah, come to prayer, Hayya ala falah, come to success. When we're talking about the falah, it requires work. It requires work on our part. In order for us to be successful, we have to work, but we have to pray too. Prayer requires work. We got to get up, we got to make wudu, we got to make tayammum. It depends on what's our condition in terms of which decides whether we're going to make tayammum, whether we're going to make wudu, or whether we have to make ghusl. What's our particular state at that time? Right? So, in terms of jobs, requires work. In terms of if we have a mental condition, what is your condition? Mentally, how are we? Emotionally, how are we? Are we in a good state? Sometimes there are situations or circumstances that can make us off, right? We might have a condition biologically where we don't have enough chemicals in our body. Therefore, we might have some type of mental problem because our biological chemicals are off. So how do we address that? Well, we got to get a diagnosis. We got to go to the doctor. I ain't going to no doctor. You know, we had that mental health summit a few weeks ago. One of the biggest things is that people don't want to be stigmatized. And they don't want to think there's nothing wrong with them. They don't want to be labeled as crazy. Man, you crazy. Didn't I not call the prophets crazy? Sorcerers, possessed, poets, the prophets, because they were bringing some information that people ain't never heard of before. What is this guy talking about? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh, he's a poet. Because they hear the rhyming of how it sounds, and we know that in Arabia, poetry was a big part of that culture, right? So here comes a guy who was of them, and he's reciting, well, you're a poet. You're no different than we are, but he's reciting God's word to give you all guidance, because the conditions of Arabia was messed up. The conditions were horrid. Now, it benefited some, but there were many who suffered. So Allah revealed on the night of power, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, khalaqal insana min alaq, Iqra wa rabbuka akram, alladhi allama bil kalam, allama al insana ma lam ya'lam. Now, you're charged with changing the conditions in your community. The first thing you got to do is read. Now, in terms of us changing our own conditions, our personal conditions, we have to read ourselves. I'm diabetic. I got high blood pressure. I'm having aches and pains. Man, where's these pains coming from? You start, the signs are there, right? But you ignore them. Man, why am I losing weight? Now we talking about physically now, right? Why I got this rash? Why my toes hurt? Why do I feel kind of drunk after I eat? You know, that's what happened with diabetics. You know, if the sugar goes too high, you start feeling kind of drunk. You know, you kind of wobbly. Why are my legs cramping? So these signs that Allah is revealing to us about ourselves, we have to, if you don't change your conditions, Allah is not going to change it. So you got to go to the doctor. You got to get things checked. Now they determine you have whatever it is that you have. Now it is up to you to monitor that. Now it's up to you to take your medication. Because some people don't have to, you don't have to live like that. You got sleep apnea. Why are you using your machine? You can have a heart attack with sleep apnea because you stop breathing. The machine is out there. Well, I ain't got no insurance. Well, see, you have to work to see if there are any programs out there that will supply it for you. Going back to the person with the job. I don't have no money. Now I found me a job. Now I have income. Now I can pay my zakat. Allah says He won't change your conditions until you change what is in your soul. You got to get out. If one is a person that's unmotivated, you got to change that. if one is a person where they have no initiative, you got to change that. It's up to you to change that. I can't change it for you. I can kind of nudge you along and say, hey, come on. Hey, come on, man. You got to get up and get out of here. It ain't going to come to you. Like my students, hey, got to get this paper done. What you waiting on? Why you procrastinating? Because you're in school to get a degree so you can get a job, so you can make more money, right? And you want a career to where you can work the rest of your life in this career so that you can retire. So you got to connect all of that together. And I don't think students, when they're young like that, they don't make those connections. What's your retire? What do you? Because you realize that if you live long enough, that you're gonna get to a point where you're too old to work. I mean, what I mean is that you're at retirement age, and you're like, man, I don't feel like going to work no more. I just want to just relax and chill out. Okay, well, what kind of income are you gonna have to come in when you're not working? You have to set up some type of residual or something that's going to pay you back or pay you while you're not working, right? But so we have to teach our kids the importance of working, the importance of finding whatever it is that you want to do, whether you go to college or whether you go to a vocational school and get you a certificate in some kind of trade. But the important thing is that you have to work, because we have obligations as Muslims that we have to pay as a zakat. If you're not working and making money, or if you don't have money coming in, how do you pay your zakat? It's one of the 5 pillars. It's obligation. It's an obligation. I mean, inshallah, I know that, making Hajj, if you can afford it, but everybody should have the initiative or should want to make Hajj. That's our religious obligation. Somebody asked me the question the other day, well, any place you want to, my first place I want to go when I leave this country is Mecca. I don't want to go nowhere else. Somewhere else, that's after Mecca. But the first place I want to go, I want to make my religious obligation. I want to fulfill that. It's my desire to do that. So may Allah, inshallah, Allah will bless us. If you haven't gone, He'll bless us to get there. The desire is there. Now we got to make it happen. I won't change your conditions until you change what is in your spirit, what is in your soul. So the financial piece is there, the emotional piece, in terms of, spirituality. We get some fulfillment from it, right? Man, I feel like I'm in the right place. I don't want anything else. So spiritually, I'm satisfied. Mentally, I'm satisfied. Emotionally, I'm satisfied in terms of my religion. Now, we may have social circumstances where at home we could be in relationships that are toxic. My spiritual peace is good, but my social peace ain't so good. I'm in an abusive relationship. You get what I'm saying? So there are many folks out there, male and female, who are in abusive relationships who are afraid to leave. But you got to take that step. Now, some folks, because they're in these abusive relationships, they end up killing that other person just to get out. That's a reality. Some folks, they end up divorcing that spouse or whatever, or leaving that person, or breaking that relationship off, right? Because I need to be socially fit. This is costing me too much money. It's costing me too much stress. Mentally, I'm imbalanced. Emotionally, I'm torn up. But Allah says, I will not change your conditions until you change what is in your soul. So in your soul, you have to do something to change it. You have to seek out the help. What does Allah say? What do we ask Allah? What we say? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka. It is you we what? Seek help. Oh, I mean, it is you we seek your aid. Wait a minute, I want to make sure I get it right. It is you we worship, and it's thine aid we seek. So we worship you, and it's your aid we seek. He's going to support us. But it has to be the right way. He does not accept anything that's wrong. And if we do wrong, he'll let us go astray. Because it's tied to free will. If you want to go out here because you don't have a job, if you want to go out here and rob people, like them kids robbed that Wells Fargo down the street. They robbed the Family Dollar on Batesville Road in LaSalle and then went over here to Wells Fargo. And now they facing some federal time for robbing a bank. 15 years old. Why did you rob that bank? Is it financial or is it something fun to do? There are a lot of people robbing people now. Homicides. The city is up to, I think, what, 62, 63 homicides this year? Now, that's incident reports. That ain't counting the number of people. Because in the incident report, you can have 10 people that were killed in an incident report. That's really 70 people that were killed, but 60 incident reports were taken. That makes sense? You know, I think it was the World Trade Center. I think how many people were killed? 1,300 people? What was it? Somewhere around there. That was one incident report. Because if you do an individual report for each person, it's going to make crime look like what? Boom. Because you got 1,300 people who were killed. Right. That's one incident report. I don't even think they even counted it in the numbers because it was such an outlier or something to such an extreme that they just left it out. Because you have so many people killed at one spot. So we have to look at what's the conditions in the community that's bringing about this violence, this hatred. You know, what is it? You don't have to look far. You know the answer. You see it. It's a scheme of Satan. And you made me out of fire and him out of clay. My substance is different from his and I'm better than he is. So the conditions in society are such that based upon how people think, how people view themselves and others. So that means I can put, I can split up the families. I can put kids in detention camps. Like Pharaoh did, I can kill all the male kids and leave all the female people. I can subjugate them to slavery, Jim Crow, the prison industrial complex. I mean, not to say that some people don't need to be in prison. Some people need to be locked up. But when it's used as a machine to create economic wealth for me, cheap labor, free labor. So we look at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to examine his society and its conditions, and he used the Quran over a 23-year period to change that environment that worshiped 360 gods to worshiping one God. And so it's our responsibility to take what Allah has given us and use it to change ourselves first, and then to be a pillar of light for the community. We have to be a pillar of light. We have to, at nighttime, you turn the light on, there are those bugs, they are drawn to the light, right? So we have to be that same light where people will be drawn to our place, or it doesn't have to necessarily be this masjid, it can be another one, to where they can get the spiritual support that they need, so they can see Allah clearly. And we're going to end it right there. Any questions? Any comments? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And we'll ask Allah to guide us, ask Allah to bless us, and to protect us, and show us the straight way. Ameen. We're going to end it right there. Is there any questions?
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
Doing something.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, brother.
I got this.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it here at the table for the kids.
Okay.